Wolverines!
In 1984, a film dropped into theaters with the force of a full-scale invasion. Its premise was the stuff of nightmares. Soviet and Cuban forces parachute into a small Colorado town, and a group of high school students are forced to retreat to the mountains to become America's last line of defense. Red Dawn wasn't just a movie, it was a cultural phenomenon. A controversial, patriotic, and terrifying vision of World War III that scarred a generation. But the story behind the camera is just as intense as the guerrilla war on screen. Today, we're fighting our way through the facts to uncover 10 things you didn't know about the original Red Dawn. Number 10. It was the first movie released with a PG-13 rating. In the summer of '84, the MPAA was under pressure after violent PG-rated films like Gremlins and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom shocked parents. They created a brand new rating, PG-13. While another film was technically the first to receive the rating, Red Dawn holds the distinction of being the very first movie to be released to the public with a PG-13 rating. Its intense, realistic violence made it the perfect and controversial debut for the new system. Number 9. The director poured his own politics into the film. Red Dawn was co-written and directed by the legendary John Milius, a self-proclaimed Zen anarchist and one of Hollywood's most outspoken conservatives. Milius, who also co-wrote Apocalypse Now and directed Conan the Barbarian, saw the film as a serious cautionary tale. He was a passionate gun enthusiast and anti-communist, and he channeled his personal beliefs directly into the movie's gritty, pro-self-reliance message. Number 8. The cast endured a grueling military boot camp. To get his young actors ready for war, John Milius didn't just hand them scripts, he sent them to boot camp. The main Wolverines, including Patrick Swayze, Charlie Sheen, C. Thomas Howell, and Leah Thompson, were put through an intense 8-week military training course before filming. They were trained by a real Green Beret, learning weapons handling, patrol tactics, and ambush techniques. The intense training forged a genuine bond between the actors that translated directly to the screen. Number 7. It held a Guinness World Record for violence. This wasn't just your average action movie. Upon its release, Red Dawn was officially cited by the Guinness Book of World Records as the most violent film ever made. The statisticians counted an average of 134 acts of violence per hour, which breaks down to an astonishing 2.23 acts of violence every single minute. This record was a badge of honor for its fans and a point of outrage for its critics. Number 6. The Soviet military hardware was clever Hollywood fakery. The U.S. military wanted nothing to do with a film depicting America being successfully invaded, so they refused to cooperate. This forced the production to get creative. The terrifying Soviet Mi-24 Hind attack helicopters were actually French-made aerospatial Puma helicopters heavily modified with fake wings, cockpits, and rocket pods. The Soviet T-72 tanks were built from the chassis of American M48 Patton tanks, with their appearances drastically altered to look like enemy hardware. Number 5. The gas station explosion was incredibly real and dangerous. The memorable scene where a tank blows up a Texaco gas station was not CGI. It was a massive practical effect. The stunt was considered so dangerous that the film's legendary stunt coordinator, Buddy Joe Hooker, performed it himself. He drove the tank past the station just as a massive, real explosion was detonated. There was no room for error. Number 4. Patrick Swayze's role was his first true lead. While Patrick Swayze had gained notice in The Outsiders, his role as Jed Eckerd, the stoic leader of the Wolverines, was his first time carrying a major motion picture. The film proved he could handle intense action and command the screen as a leading man, setting the stage for the superstardom he would achieve with films like Dirty Dancing and Ghost just a few years later. Number 3. Calumet was a real American town. The fictional town of Calumet, Colorado, was brought to life in the very real town of Las Vegas, New Mexico. The production took over the town for months, using its main street and local buildings as the backdrop for the invasion. Many of the town's residents were hired as extras to flee in terror from the invading forces, adding to the film's authentic, it could happen here feel. Number 2. A legendary actor was cut from the film. The original cut of the film was even longer and featured a scene with a downed U.S. Air Force pilot who gives the Wolverines information. This pilot was played by the legendary Western actor Ben Johnson, an Oscar winner famous for his roles in John Ford films. However, to tighten the film's pacing and keep the focus squarely on the kids, his entire part was left on the cutting room floor. Number 1. It inspired a real-life military operation. This is the most incredible legacy of Red Dawn. The film's depiction of an effective insurgency against a superior occupying force was so compelling that it was studied by the U.S. military. The real-world connection became undeniable in 2003 when the military operation to find and capture Saddam Hussein was officially codenamed Operation Red Dawn. The 2 specific high-value targets in the operation, they were designated Wolverine 1 and Wolverine 2. Controversial, influential, and undeniably a product of its time, Red Dawn remains one of the most iconic and debated films of the 80s. It was a terrifying fantasy that inspired both audiences and the very military it depicted. What's your favorite moment from Red Dawn? And who was your favorite Wolverine? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to shout, Wolverines, as you hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.